Alright guys, in this video we're going to be going over 10 habits of successful relationships. Now these are things that you can model yourself. These are things that successful relationships have in common that you can look at and go, wow, if I do that I will have a higher likelihood of having a successful relationship. Now this can be anything from dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, all the way down to just your friends, just your coworkers, even your neighbors. This is a broad spectrum of things. It's just having a great relationship. And number one is communication. A lot of problems are caused simply because people do not know how to communicate how they feel, how they think, and what is causing the problem. And if you get communication down, it's the foundation for a great relationship. I know a lot of people who are friends but don't feel comfortable telling each other how they feel. And because of that, they have a very rocky relationship, and there's not much content, there's not much meat in the friendship. It's just, if one of them got in a car accident, they would show up to the hospital bed and they'd say, if there's anything I can do, I'll do it for you, but they won't actually mean it. Like, they wouldn't actually, scrub their feet. That was a weird analogy, but you know what I mean. It's not like a deep, meaningful relationship. Tip number two is forgiveness. And this is something that I've noticed in my life that you can find there's a lot of people who struggle with forgiving someone. And something I wouldn't suggest this, but you can do it if you want to, is actually to make a mistake on purpose and then ask someone else for your forgiveness. And in turn, how they forgive you can determine the quality of the relationship. So it's completely ambiguous. I wouldn't do anything major, but as long as you understand that your friend, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever you're living with, can forgive you, that's going to be a quality of a great relationship. And you in turn can do that to yourself. You can forgive people for what they have done. And it's actual forgiveness, not just saying that you apologize, but forgiveness like, I actually forgive you, I'm not going to do it again, I am sorry. I feel bad. That comes a lot with tip number three, which is understanding. When you understand a person and how they feel, it comes a lot easier to forgive them. Now, understanding is really difficult, and you kind of have to have, I don't want to be real cheesy about it, but you have to have a big heart. You have to have the openness to want to understand someone else and their situation, and the empathy and the sympathy to know how someone else feels, and understanding their situation, that they may not have had the out to get you kind of thinking, but something bad happened, and that understanding will lead to forgiveness. And over time, understanding them, they will be more likely to be open to understanding you. Tip number four is to understand the 5 love languages. And if you've ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages, you will start to understand that loving someone, that having a loving relationship isn't something you can do passively. I talk about income all the time. You can make passive income to where it just trickles into your bank account and you don't even have to think about it. But a great relationship, if you understand the 5 love languages, you start to understand that they're not passive, they're active. So you have to go out, and it breaks down a habit a little bit, but actively loving someone, understanding that this friend will feel more loved if I give them a gift every week, and this friend, on the other hand, won't feel the same way, but they will feel loved even more if I spend 30 minutes with them every day. And the 5 love languages, you can read that book. They're words of affirmation, service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And everyone's different. You might have a mix of those. One of those might be super important to you. You just have to understand yourself, and you also have to understand the person that you're with, the relationships that you have built in your life. When you start deconstructing them and finding out what their love language is or what their priorities are, then you can start to have a better relationship in terms of how you form your habits. Tip number 5 is respect. Now this is a big one, and I've actually had some struggle with this among some of my friends, because they'll go out and do things, and it's hard for me to respect them through their actions. But I can tell you what, the friends that I do respect, I have a great relationship with. I look up to them. It's like, wow, that's a great quality that I think you have, and I would like to have that. Just respecting them, understanding that they're not below you, they're with you. And sometimes when you start to look at people below you, you start to not respect them as much because you feel like they're undervalued. And I don't want to talk about this as much because I don't know much about it, but I do know it is a habit of great relationships. Respect. Tip number 6 is to appreciate each other. Now, appreciation can go anything all the way back to the 5 love languages, to say, I appreciate you, let's spend 30 minutes together watching the sunset, to I appreciate you, I wrote you a little note when I thought of you, or here's a small gift when I was on vacation. Just appreciating them. And sometimes you can even vocally tell someone, hey, I appreciate that you're in my life. And that helps out a lot. Tip number 7 is to look at situations not that it's me versus you. It's not me versus you. I'm going to say that one more time. It's not me versus you. What it is us versus the problem. So when you come at something and there are people coming, they start just butting heads. And it's like it's like a war. They're starting to attack each other and attack each other's personal qualities. And that's the problem in the first place, is that they're not joining together to solve the problem. And the thing is, if they would just join together and go, you know what, it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's both of our faults, what can we do to solve this problem? That will solve so many relationship problems, just coming at it together as a team, whether that's a marriage team or a boyfriend-girlfriend team, or even you and your friend. If you guys just start looking at problems and bickering as something that you guys can solve together, you'll have a lot more success in that relationship. The next tip is that honesty comes first. Now, there's a lot of times in my life I can look back and go, man, it was really easy to lie there. But when it comes down to it, friendships and great relationships are for the long term. So if you want a short-term relationship, yeah, go ahead and lie. But if you be honest, even if you be honest first without going through a bunch of loopholes, that friend will start to respect you more. They will understand you more. You will start to have better communication with them. It's just another great foundational habit of a great relationship, is to be honest first. And if you don't feel comfortable being honest to a person, there might be some psychological abuse or something else going on that is making that relationship unsteady, and you probably want to get away from that. The next tip is to make time for each other. Now, this is something I struggle with, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs might struggle with in relationships specifically, because they love to work. I'm almost like a workaholic. I love working. Something about me specifically is that I don't want to spend my time doing something meaningless. So I look at things and I value my time really high. And sometimes if I'm just out with my girlfriend and we're not having a great time, I almost start to look down upon that, because I was like, I could be making $5,000 or $10,000 more a month if I spent that time on the business. But I also look at the relationship view of it, and I'm like, you know, this relationship is a great thing in my life. If I didn't have it, I might not want to work as hard. So that's something that you've got to balance, and you've got to be self-aware to understand what percent of your life do you want to work and what percent of your life do you want to be actually part of your life. And the entrepreneur part of that is, where can you mesh those? The last tip is, of course, to laugh a lot. Now, there are a ton of psychological benefits to laughing a lot. And if you can build a habit up to where when you spend time with someone and when you're around them, you're charismatic. Sometimes some people that I'm around, I literally just feel more charismatic. And it's not even me that has changed. It's them. It's the people that I'm around. They make me feel more charismatic. They make me feel like it's okay to laugh, it's okay to be myself. And if you can surround yourself with people like that, that's another great habit to form in a great relationship. So I'm going to go back through and review these 10 habits that you can come up with, that you can model the masters to have a great relationship. Number 1 is communication. The next one's forgiveness. Number 3 is understanding. Number 4 is to understand and actively pursue the 5 love languages. Number 5 is respect each other. Number 6 is to appreciate each other. Number 7 is to look at things that it's us versus the problem, not me versus you. Number 8 is to be always honest first. Tip number 9 is to make time for each other. And tip number 10 is to laugh a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something. And if you have any questions, email me at practicalpsychologytips@gmail.com. If you guys enjoyed that video and want to read the book I wrote that it came from, search Amazon for Habit Harvester, or click the link in the description. The book is short enough to read in one sitting, but is jam-packed with tons of information, just like you saw in this video. In fact, I've also added a few extra stories and fixed some of the errors found in this video course. There's also plenty of amazing illustrations to aid in the learning process, and keep the book fun to read. If you're interested, you can buy the Kindle version for $2.99, or sign up for a month of Kindle Unlimited to get it for free, which is what I personally use, and you get access to millions of other ebooks and thousands of audiobooks included in your Kindle Unlimited membership. When you buy the Kindle version, you don't even need a Kindle to read it. You can download the Kindle app on your smartphone, download the software for PC, or even read it on Amazon.com through their cloud server. If you want to watch the rest of the videos in this series, click this thingy or check the link in the description for a playlist. Thank you guys so much for watching.